Once again, talking while I'm muted. That's my issue. What's happening? Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday to you, my friend. How are you?
Doing good. I'm grateful. I feel like I've been having conversations with my wife for a long time about having like a good little setup, having a good setup at home that was really conducive to me, like being able to sit down and kind of attack everything I need for my business and things like this too. And so, to be honest, I think working from home since the pandemic, going all the way back to that, it's like I was working off an armchair and like a little coffee table. And so like now it's a little bit of a better spot right now. So I'm grateful. Still trying, I got to get this lighting right. This lighting just feels off right now. So
I know I'm always either too bright or I'm too dark or something, but we're going to make it work. It doesn't really matter. They're not here for our looks. They're here for the knowledge.
Oh man, we just got our first comment. I'm here for the looks and the not. Damn it. No, I'm kidding. No, there's no comment right there. So it's all good. But no, I will figure this out at some point. So that'll be good. But welcome to anyone that is joining us right now. This is Health Dads. This is Ryan Turner's Brofit out in Arizona. Ryan Turner over here in Brooklyn. Talking nutrition, talking training. All things bodybuilding, confidence in yourself as a dad and a parent, and all those things. But yeah. Hey, so what's new? Anything new in the world of clients? Anything that's been happening? Current state of what's going on with your peeps?
Nothing too crazy new. I had a girl I once trained back at the old Brofit when I had a big facility, and her and her sister both used to train with me. Her sister played college volleyball. She was just wanted to stay in shape. And so anyways, got a random phone call from her. Haven't heard from her in probably 6 or 7 years, but now she's out of college. She's in the workforce, and she wants to feel more comfortable about the way that she looks, because a lot of the clients that she works with tend to look at legs. And I know that sounds very strange, but like the women that are in her, I guess, in her business field all wear dresses, and legs are kind of a big deal. And so they're often looked at and kind of judged. And so anyways, I feel like this is something, and this has kind of been something that she had issues with. I think it was just more of a comfort of self-image rather than really what she portrayed. I don't think she's out of shape. I don't think she's necessarily somebody that should be shocked by the way that she looks. But I think she just kind of brings it upon herself and wants to work upon those things. So I haven't yet decided if I want to work quite yet with her or not. I think I'm in a place where I don't want to take on. I've always in the past taken on everybody and anything and everything, right? I've always wanted to be like, hey, I can cater to you. Yes, I can help you out. Yes, I can help you out. Yes, I can help you out. And I think we almost kind of started breaching into this conversation once before, but not on this show, was just either the clientele that you're accepting and taking in it takes a lot of energy out of you, and what you put into it is what you kind of want to get out of it. And so I only really want to start working with the people who are really serious, and the ones that aren't there for a temporary or there for something small, I guess. And I guess what's small to me may be big to them. So I don't want to say that. I guess that sounds bad, but I want to pick and choose who my clientele are. I don't want to necessarily put all 1,000% effort when I feel like I'm getting 1% back, because I feed off of my clients. I feed off the people that I work with. And if somebody's working hard, they're giving me the effort, they're staying accountable, they're showing up on time, they're bringing a work log of their foods, they're getting in the steps or doing the workouts that I've prescribed for them on the days off. They're getting in some sort of recovery. They're making strides, right? Whether it's 1%, 2%, or 100%, as long as they're making constant and consistent strides forward and making progress, hell yeah, I want to work with them. So I just don't know if I'm there with this individual quite yet. So I think I need to have another consultation and just kind of chat with her a little bit more about what's going on and feed into that a little bit more.
Okay, got it. I think it's I think it's definitely a good conversation. It's hard to keep. I feel like in business too, sometimes it's like if you are, if you're having a moment where you do need to, it's a numbers game sometimes, take care of the family, pay the bills, all that kind of stuff, right? We have to make sure we're doing what we can to take on who we might need to. That makes sense. Like, I don't think that we should need to be against that by any means.
I guess I've been bad at that in the past, right? When Brofit closed down, I wanted to continue to work with kids because that was my passion and that was my outlet, and that's what Brofit was defined for me, was working with younger kids and younger generations. But I jumped into some things that kind of took the spirit out of things, kind of took the spirit out of me, took the spirit out of training, took the spirit out of loving people and being able to be a cheerleader for them, because part of training is being a cheerleader and wanting for them to succeed. And it is exhausting. So anyways, yeah, that's kind of that. I know I took that little question and went somewhere off with it. I have a tendency to do that.
No, it's good. I mean, it's also, I think, the side of one, I wanted to ask about, giving a backstory on just Brofit facility itself. I think the volleyball side, I also wanted to ask about a little bit too, as I'm navigating all of these tools for social media as we're working through this. And then I think it's, if we look at the other side of it for people, I would wish that people knew how to choose somebody to work with too. Because if someone is choosing anyone and everyone for themselves, and you look at kind of who their clientele is, or you look at the reviews or the feedback, and you see, someone that was very obese, someone that is getting ready for a stage competition, someone else with severely uncontrolled diabetes, someone else over there that, they're working on childhood nutrition. I mean, at some point in my career, I've definitely had something similar to that. But I think as you look for people to work with, whether it's nutrition or training or finances or anything at all, really, I would hope that everyone can kind of find someone that, is speaking to who you are as, people kind of talk about avatars. Like you talk about Mrs. Jones, a lot of business coaches will kind of, put up there, be like, well, who is your Mrs. Jones? Can you describe that person? I thought you did it really well the other day. So, I think what I've told people for a long time is I tend not that I don't want to, because I have for a long time, I tend not to work with people in larger bodies, because I tend to work with a lot more athletes and very active individuals. And so we are working on performance goals. We're working on muscle building. We're working on getting leaner for, goals that I think are on the aggressive side. And so and then with these people tends to be a lot of emotional eating and binge eating, the conversation about supplementation, about recovery from workouts. But if someone came to me with, kidney disease, I know how to take care of them, but I'm also probably not up on the latest research on terms of what actually is going to support that person the best. So I would want to refer out and find, another dietitian that definitely does have a better, not just background in renal disease, but also making sure that it's someone that I know has had the time to focus in on, what those latest things are. So, I think for anyone, I think both for the trainer, the clinician, the dietitian, but also for the client themselves, I'd hope that everyone is okay, finding someone that's more specific for me. It could cost more, but it's really beneficial for everyone to know, I just want to know, do you tend to work with me? And use that language. Am I, part of the avatar that you talk to for your business? I think it's really helpful. I always think about that. So, and I was talking with Blaze recently too, just about like some business goals. And he was, asking me these questions again. It was good for me as I was trying to redevelop some of my content. So it's always good. Yeah. What was I going to ask? Oh, just about Brofit itself. Brofit and like your facility and everything, and where you were training everybody. What's like the 2-minute rundown of it? Exactly what it was and why you are Brofit and how you're Brofit.
Okay. What the old Brofit and new Brofit. There's two different Brofits. The old Brofit was designed and specifically developed for being a brother figure, an older brother figure, and mentors, an outlet for younger kids, younger athletes, specifically in the Phoenix area. Excuse me. And I really had a connection and outlet to the volleyball community. So I started coaching at my old high school again, working with my old coach that taught me the game of volleyball. So I got to work with him, opened up Brofit, started having a lot of my kids that I worked with at different clubs and high schools training under that facility. And it was honestly a place where I could take a lot of the things that we have in the VeeFriends, these characteristics, these traits that we talk about, and I basically held them underneath the roof. It's what I felt like before it happened. It was a safe haven for kids that could come and feel comfortable. But we held them accountable. We had really hard workouts. We had standards. We didn't let things slide, right? We didn't say the word can't. Anytime you said the word can't, it'd be 5 push-ups. It didn't matter why. It didn't matter, or it'd actually be burpees, because a lot of the times some of the kids couldn't do push-ups. So we did burpees instead, but it didn't matter. It was just more so a retraining of the mind, allowing these kids to know that they could be extremely self-confident in the things that they can do, and they didn't need somebody else's validation for them to be able to go out there and do something. And that because they're doing something maybe different than the other kid, or because they're not getting a D1 scholarship like their best friend, doesn't mean that there's no place for them, or that there's no value for them, or that D2 is not just as good as D1 or D3 or whatever. So we got into a lot of crazy fun discussions that high school kids go through, kids breaking up and coming in and just being emotional, and working with young teenagers. You kind of see it all. But it was really a cool place because I got to take my love for fitness and passion and give it towards kids in a safe way that provided a solid foundation for them to move, so that my goal overall, when they came to me, no matter where they went in the world, they were able to move accordingly. So they had a basis. They knew how to press. They knew how to pull. They knew how to lunge. They knew how to squat. They knew how to move correctly, so that if they went somewhere else to another gym, my goal for them was to have somebody come up and go, "Who taught you that? Who taught you how to move like that?
Yeah.
Hold on a second." And if they got that kind of feedback, I know I did a good job in terms of the movement and this quality and their standards, right? So that was the old Brofit, shut down, like fast forward about 6 years through COVID and all that. Here we are. I don't work with kids anymore because I'm here at my home. My house is like right back there. I've just got this little green grass here and my backyard and whatnot. But I'm here at my own home studio, so I'm not working with kids. I decided that was a no-no. I don't want 15, 16, 17-year-old girls coming over to the house to train. That's a very, very no. So yeah, actually, you know what? You really sparked me up, man. We had this conversation. We had the first V-Dads episode, and we really sparked up the interest in the conversation and got very emotional about what Brofit meant, and how the death of my brother really had a huge impact, and the closing of Brofit had a huge impact on me. And so we decided to kind of revamp it, rework it, and the more and more we have these discussions, or I join these V-Dads groups in the morning, I'm well aware that guys like you and I need brothers too, that we need that accountability. We need that structure. We need somebody to be able to go to and look up to, or to be able to vent to, and have just a safe place to where we feel comfortable and there's no knocking down, but we'll tell you if you're doing something wrong. And we hold you, there's a certain standard that we have in V-Dads, right? We don't let people trash one another. We hold a certain standard of respect, and responsibility, and so on and so forth. So I want to put that still into place, but it needs to be a little bit different. It needs to be geared a lot different mentally, because what you and I are going through as men in our 20s, 30s, and 40s, and so on, are completely different than what those kids were going through in their 13s, 14s, 15s, 16s, and 17s, right? We go through a lot of the same thing mentally, but we're at a different place for sure, but with different limitations, different structures, different stresses, different lifestyle, different responsibilities, different bit, like, and the list goes on and on. So I think our needs are much different than the kids' needs. And it really becomes, I think, even more psychological.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love that. I love that you said that. I also love that you have that background with the kids too. I think mainly, not to go too deep into like the VDAD's philosophy and everything that we've tried to like develop. And, it's really this like creation. I know that, Blaze and I, hopping on just a bunch of phone calls and figuring out like, what is our mission? What do we want to do? Making sure that we are finding a way to like help, parents. Usually, we're really on the foundation of a lot of people that have been a little bit more open and vulnerable to a lot of these, hard and soft skills, at least learning them or knowing that they're self-aware enough to know they're not going to be perfect and knowing what they are and how to apply them to their life. But how can we make, dads in particular, because that's what I thought was the population that needed it a lot more than just like, parents in general, although we do say that like, we're all VDads, it's true, right? Even if you are someone who had a dad and you're not a dad now, like it's still, you're going to benefit from it. Even if you're a mom, of course you're going to benefit from it. But you having the background with the kids and us wanting to make sure that our mission is still going to be, building confidence in dads, in your health, your mindset, and your connection. The kids are there too, right? Because we want you to connect with the kids. So if we have people in our community that definitely know how to make kids healthier, then we can all, and move better, move more safely, all those kind of things. It's going to be important. So we just want to make sure we keep that message going. And I think that you're right there with that. I think it's definitely huge. That's all I'm going to say with that right now. But thank you for sharing all that. I really appreciate it. And we have to, I think what I also wanted to say, just 30 seconds of me, is not that I feel like spending a lot of time right now on like the daily dad stuff. It's been great and it's been so wonderful, but I feel like sometimes we're missing what I originally loved starting like the interviews for, like you just mentioned. I love having those interviews and getting deeper into someone's story. So, that's where I think my next step is going to be, after I think we have a pretty solid foundation right now with Daily Dad. So I'm probably going to step back over there and figure out how to kind of get more of those interviews going. So, they're on the horizon. But since we are talking, state of clients and current topics, Paul, thank you so much for sharing. This is what we want. We want people to be able to help us understand what's going on. And you have a question that I prompted, so thanks for answering. But how to find the motivation to make healthy choices when it's so easy and convenient to choose processed, nutrient-lacking foods? I hear you. It's definitely a heavy topic. I want to say it's easy at the same time. I think that there's an answer here that is so simple, it can sound frustrating, but when you get down into it, I think that it also can be something that is going to feel difficult to implement. So I know it sounds like I'm such a wishy-washy answer, but can I volley this to you, Brofit? What are your first thoughts on it?
I'm gonna kind of hit some people right now, and if I lose some respect to people, I'm very sorry. I don't mean to do this, and it's not my intentions in any way, shape, or form. But I'm gonna take something like this, and I think it's a great question, fantastic question. I look at this, and I heard this, I think, this morning, regarding steps and stuff. I don't know. I always find if it's a priority, if it's important to you, you're going to make it a priority. Like, why do you go do all the other things and put those things first in your life? Like, why is it easy for you and convenient for you to go get those processed and nutrient lacking foods rather than going out and being healthier with your decisions, or walking to the grocery store, or hell, even walking at the grocery store, learning real foods, or if you're with your kids, being able to teach them real foods. Like, do your kids know what the proteins, carbohydrates, and fats are, kind of a deal. It's kind of the challenge that I have with some of my clients, right? Like, if you care enough, you're going to go do it, right? Do you take care of your kids? Do you say goodnight to them? Do you cook them dinner? Do you make them breakfast? Do you make them lunches for school? Do you take them to school? Do they wash themselves? Do they brush their teeth? Do they wipe their butts when they go to the bathroom? Like, if you're a parent, you kind of go through those little things, and you have to go through all those steps. So you prioritize. So where are your priorities? Where do your priorities lie? And that's a hard one. I find that it is easy and convenient to be lazy in the short term, but in the long term, it's really, really devastating, because I do know what it feels like to go from 210 pounds of nothing, pure athleticism and, 8% body fat or whatever it was, to 165 pounds and not being able to run physically, and having to train myself all over, and having to go backwards, and having to go through those processes all over again, and understanding that, hey, it's a lot easier when you just make those routine decisions throughout the day. Like, why do you brush your teeth before you go to bed? You take 2 minutes, 3 minutes, multiple times throughout the day. Why is that 6 minutes more important than taking the 6 minutes to go make a better decision that might be longer lasting, right? We talk about not only the health benefits, we could talk about the like the bills and stuff later on, with just doctor bills and stuff, right? It comes back around at some point, some way, shape, or form. I just know that if I can battle these small things consistently throughout the day, a bigger one that comes up, I'm going to approach it differently. I might be able to just knock out certain issues, and then at one point take over the whole lump sum, rather than being overwhelmed with decision making and problem solving. To me, it's like a mathematical problem. It's a problem solved. If it's important to you, you'll get it done. If it's not, you'll push it off to the side. You'll move on, but you'll never learn, right? But it'll affect you, just like not learning math will somehow affect you, in your life. So that's a hard one. That's if you want to do it, do it. If you don't. Is that too aggressive? I mean, I know that sounds rough. I don't. Yeah.
No. There's the thing is,
I'm not trying to.
You saying that can definitely hit someone well, and it can hit someone not so well. You can turn someone off. You can turn someone on with that kind of thing. And so it's, recently, if anyone in our community knows who Patient Piggy is, Carly, she was also on the BDAS podcast a while ago. Carly is someone who is post-bariatric surgery, and she has a very large following on Instagram and also Facebook. I recently talked with her group of people too. Carly has a really harsh message. And I think that, if she was here, I would say that too. And that's not a negative thing. That's just who she is. And she likes that message about her. She's very open with, I do things the way that are going to work for me, and I'm just sharing it. So fuck you if you think that it's wrong. And so I definitely love that, because it works for her. And, people, and I was on there, and we were going back and forth too. I was very much on the side of like, well, there's some things I think that we have to be careful about saying, especially, we can't live in such a binary world. It's not a yes or no. It's like, well, there can be, this in between that we have to be careful about understanding where someone falls there. And so, me being the evidence-based individual was like, well, Carly, you can't ask me that question. That's yes or no. But I get why she was doing it. She's great at what she does, and she's great with her message, and her communities love her. Like, you look at some of these large communities, you're like, oh, did someone pay for this? Like, no, people are very active in her communities. But after we talked, after we were live, people had reached out to me like, oh, great, I really appreciated that. And, there were, I think, so like, oh, it was really nice to hear the other side of it, making sure that, some things were kind of put in check. And, I just said thank you to these, like, there were like maybe three messages out of the many people that were actually watching. And so this one person, though, she was like, she's like, yeah, I definitely appreciate the fact that there was like some balance that was kind of brought into some of these messages. And she's like, I know that Carly can be really hard, and I know that Carly can almost sound like there's only one way to do it, but it's her way. And she was like, but you know what? Sometimes I just really need that really hard message to be like, just shut up and do it. And so I've even felt that way. I am such a cerebral, I'm an overthinker to, no end. And there's nowhere I overthink more than when I'm in the gym with my form. And there's been so many times where a trainer had just been like, shut up and just lift the weight. Now, not to be unsafe, but because the more you overthink this, the less you're going to lift. The less you're going to lift, the less you're going to really achieve from this. Just lift it. And if something is that wrong, I'll let you know. And if I don't see it, your body's going to tell you. And so it ends up being a really helpful thing. So no, I think that it is a message for the right person in the right time. I think it's definitely good, and it's not wrong by any means. And so, Paul, if that lands with you, like Paul here says, that's golden. Like, there you go.
I just find it, if it's important to you, you'll make it a priority, right? We were going to be 10 minutes a little bit late on this show. And so I'm sitting here going, well, instead of just sitting here waiting, here's what I'm going to do. And this is what I did for 10 minutes, right? Oops, I hope I did not turn off my computer.
Oh, you're good. Thanks to you.
I hit the button on the back while moving. Okay. I did literally a pace all the way down around my pool and back. It was 50 steps. And then I came and I did 10 push-ups. I'd walk 50 steps. I come back.
Over there too, bro. My goodness, you're living the nice life.
It's Arizona. We have to. It's very, very important. It's more like a jacuzzi during the summer. But I did that for 10 minutes until I heard the ding on my phone and knew that you were popping up to get on. And why? Because I had the time. And it wasn't like I really wanted to work out, but I knew I had to make up steps at some point today, right? I knew movement's important to me, and I've not been getting my lifts on as regularly now in the morning because I'm more focused on getting some steps and getting breakfast earlier and just kind of prioritizing a few different things. So my point is if it's important, you'll get it done. Like, we have 5 minutes, right? Right now, we could go ahead and we could have this conversation and get our steps in together if we really, really wanted to. I think we could. I don't know. Maybe we need a laptop or something for StreamYard. But anyways, my point is we can get it done. There's always time, whether you wake up earlier or you go to bed earlier or you just prioritize certain things, right? I prioritize getting all my shit ready the night before. So my clothes are laid out. My kids' clothes are laid out. I've got their lunch more or less made for the most part, except for the sandwich. Like, all their snacks and stuff are all bagged up. Like, I get all that stuff done because it's a priority to me not to feel rushed. It's a priority for me not to yell at my kids because I'm behind or because it's just too easy and convenient for me not to go do some of those things that are important and to just bypass them, right? So I make it a priority. And then when I do make it a priority, it seems to pay off tenfold, absolute tenfold. So, Paul's firing at me. He's mad. He's getting mad. What's he saying?
No, don't even start this. So, but look, you know what I would say is that, and I'm grounding myself in this statement, is that I love to bucket thoughts. I bucket thoughts because it helps me just stay organized and also kind of speak through them. And so I want to get this in a second, but if I can be honest, someone looking for motivation in this realm, I think that you're going about it the wrong way, because if you are either waiting for motivation or that you don't do something because of motivation, you're looking at the wrong thing there, because really it's going to be the habits that you're trying to build anyway, right? Because the absence of or the overabundance of motivation is not going to be the thing that really gives most people the success that they really want in their lifestyle habits and their lifestyle changes. So I would say that, you have to find not the motivation, but you have to place yourself in the right circles of people and the right mindset to start building the habits that you know that you can just do day to day with or without the motivation. And yes, of course, I think what Brofit is saying is totally right. I think that it's something, and I always say Brofit, I'll say both, but I think that when we're looking at someone who can be more consistent in the habits that are going to get them to their goals, they create more freedom to have the foods that you think are too easy or too convenient or too processed or nutrient lacking. Like I love Doritos and I love gummy bears. Those are my binge foods. Those are my travel foods. If it's vacation, I'm going down the highway, you're going to find those in the car. Now, I'm not like I've done a lot of self work to deal with things like binge eating, but I know that I'm going to love those foods. It's the same thing, Paul. The people in my life that I've seen who know how to save the most money in the most effective ways are the people who know how to spend money in the most effective ways. So if you know where you want to spend your money, I know I'm not gonna want to spend my money likely on shoes and cars. I just don't really care. Like I guess I do. I like my my Vivo Barefoots, but like I'm probably just like it's nothing crazy. I'm not spending a ton of money on them, but I definitely know that I'm not going to spend my money there. I'm going to spend most of my money probably on a trip or a vacation or a restaurant. That's where I spend my money. But that also tells me that if I'm in the middle of like the fall season right now, my money is going to go towards my bank account and less towards things just like my vacation. Like I know where I spend it. Now I'm going to start saving my money for where I want to spend it. The same thing with food and habits. If you know the foods that you love to end up eating, right? If you love the easy, convenient fast food from Wendy's, or you love the highly processed, nutrient lacking, I don't know, name a chip, you first of all can't tell yourself you can't have them. Yeah, Doritos. Also, all the nacho, the blue are bullshit. Stop with the blue. But if you want to have them, you can't tell yourself you can't. I always say that restriction will lead to rebellion. Now, if you have a body fat loss goal, there will be some restriction that has to come in there, right? But whenever we tell ourselves we can't, or you have to wipe out a whole food group or something that you love, like you will rebel, whether it's sex, money, drugs, whatever. If you take it away too quickly and you tell yourself you can't have it, you will rebel in some sort of way. Even somebody who was on a journey of they were an alcoholic and they're in recovery, right? They're going to end up having a moment, whether they actually lapse or not, it will go back into their head. They will have those thoughts. I've not met one person in recovery that has not thought about drugs or alcohol. They're like, yeah, it's a demon all the time. I'm thinking about it. But what they do is they have a habit. They put themselves around the right people. They show up to the meetings that they need to. They know the process that they go through to make sure that they don't go that direction. So when you have things like the lower executive functioning, or you don't have things already prepared or habits already in place, you're going to fall victim to things like the easy, convenient, and the process and the nutrient lacking. You're going to go towards those more and easier because the other things just aren't there. So there is going to be some work done before motivation ever comes in as part of your solution. So I would totally say, focus on finding an environment that you're changing, right? So if it's your kitchen environment, start changing things around that. Look for some sort of social accountability, daily dads in the morning, these kind of things here. Hire a coach if you need to. Find your friends that are definitely going to support you too. And then also get the education in that you need to about what habits, what foods do I have to start to put in place? Like Brofit's putting in here, he says that, you're asking crockpot. Okay, learn a crockpot option. And then if that works for you throughout your week, that's one less thing that you have to think about. And it's probably one less easy, convenient meal that you really think that you don't have to end up having. I can keep going with it too. So, but
yeah, I'm gonna jump in there because there's a few things that are really, really great. Like you always put such words into such a nice balanced story and portray such a beautiful story. And sometimes I have a hard time delivering like that. But you paint a great picture, and as you're sitting there talking about it, I'm like, oh my gosh, I did all of this when I quit drinking. Oh my gosh, I did all of this when I quit chewing tobacco. Oh my gosh, yeah, that's why they say food is a drug. And food is drugs, right? The food is, whether it's sugar or whatever, like food is a drug, but it can also be fuel, right? And so I agree with you. Have to go through these processes. Like that's why I say if it's important to you, you just won't do it. Like why don't you drink 7 days a week? You know, because you feel like shit, and because it's expensive, and because I got stuff to do the next day, and I got to put. You know, there's other reasons, right? You start to prioritize those things, and so it's just like that for me. It was kind of like, well, how do I quit drinking? Well, you have to start surrounding yourself a little bit differently. You start have to making different decisions. You might have to start tricking yourself, right? Like for me, when I first started getting off of alcohol, it was really tricking my mind of getting off of sugar. That was what my body was craving, was sugar.
What you mean once the alcohol was absent?
Yeah, 1,000%. Like I was like, oh my God, I need sugar. And I started like eating candy. And then from there, I started replacing candy with like fruit, like frozen fruits. And then from there, I started adding like protein into the frozen fruits because my blood sugar was getting all crazy. Right. And then I started balancing those things out to where I didn't need it or don't think about it. And now I have non alcoholic beer. I just drink non alcoholic beer whenever the hell I want to. If it's like 10 o'clock in the morning, I'll crack a beer, and it's no alcohol, 0.0%, and it's fantastic. I don't have to worry about that stuff, and it doesn't affect me in those ways, right?
Is it Athletic Brewing?
Athletic Brewing is one. I do the Heineken 0.0 because it's got 0.0. I really got upset one night when my wife pointed out that some of these non-alcoholic beers actually have less than 0.5%. And that actually kind of started to bug me a little bit because there's nights where we'll go out and be social and I'll have 5 or 6 of those.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, shit, that's like a half a beer at the end of the night. And that's not what I'm trying to accomplish. And I know that's crazy, but I want to get the other thing I wanted to point out was the crock pot deal, because Paul, you're really good at doing 2 or 3 days a week, and you can crock pot 2 or 3 times a week. Man, you're saving yourself, you're getting in extra days. Like, can you do a crock pot every other day and just back up and have leftovers, whether it's meat and then taking that meat and having rice with it, and the next day flipping that rice and doing it into more like tortillas or something like that, or lettuce wraps, or crock pot. I think those are game changers for me because I could throw it in there, I can get the hell out of the kitchen, go do my things for the day, or clean up the house like I need to, take care of the kids, not have to sit there and I think crock pots are a game changer. Dropping 40 to 50 pounds went from growing up after a motorcycle accident. Yeah, man, crock pots, food, all that fun stuff is going to be a game changer. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Sorry.
No, it's all good. I think we need because these are all current state of people, and like so this is. I mean, I would love people came up live and ask these questions. You know something? So crockpot's one thing.
Snacks.
What I also love is I love like one pan meals, but I like sheet pan meals. Sheet pan meals are my favorite thing ever because they're so simple. And by a sheet pan meal, one, there's a book. It's called Sheet Pan Suppers. It's great. I mean, it's simple. You don't have to buy it. And I can take a few pictures if you want to. I can send it to you. And then as long as I'm not gonna get sued, but the sheet pan meals are great. It's like, basically it's you walking into your house and, first thing you do, set your oven at 375. You get your sheet tray out, right? Your cookie tray. And you walk over to your fridge, you grab a protein, and then you grab some sort of, fiber vegetable. It could be broccoli, asparagus, Brussels sprouts, whatever you want to do. And just do a little bit of olive oil on there, salt and pepper, and then you put it in the oven for about 30 minutes. Now, you're a good cook. That's what you said, Paul. But sheet pan suppers, like, it's the simplest thing you can possibly do. I'm also a really big fan of things like microwave rices. I also love microwaving just a russet potato, just any potato, really. They're really quick and easy because I think this is that line where I hear people get so wrapped up. I feel like I have the weirdest lighting on me right now without this. In these packaged foods, right? People are like, oh my gosh, we're gonna have a rice that's microwaved. I'm like, there's hardly any difference in that rice or that quinoa that's gonna be microwaved versus the one you're gonna cook. It's not gonna be as good quality, but it's definitely something like you're not going to enjoy every single meal, or every single meal you have is not going to be 100% quality that we really want it to be.
And it's not that way.
Nor should it. I would say we need to enjoy our food, right? We need to enjoy our food. If you're not enjoying any meals throughout your week, something's wrong. But I will also say this. If you are feeling like you're indulging every single meal throughout your week, or you're really trying to hit 100% enjoyment on every single meal, I'm going to tell you there's something probably wrong there. And it's not to tell you you're wrong as a person, but I'll tell you that those meals are likely going to be higher in calories than you actually need. So I definitely, I have a plethora of
The microwave rice is a good
recipes. I mean, I have recipes here. I'll show, I think I'm going to get way too into this.
The microwave rice is a great one. Another one that I'll do is there's like the Alaskan salmon burgers that you can get from Costco. It's pretty much like this salmon, Alaskan salmon that you would have in those little cans that you were showing off last week. And but they have them already in pre-burgers, so that way you don't have to cook them or anything. You just literally just like heat them up. They're ready to rock and roll. Those microwavable rices, I like the Ben. I think it's Ben and Jerry's. They're like 90-second rices. But they're fantastic. You're right. Those make it is really quick. It makes it really simple. And the other way that you talked about putting everything on trays and whatnot on the sheet pans is like, oh my gosh, just double up on that stuff, and you can munch on that stuff all day, all night long, and it's almost impossible to get fat eating really healthy foods.
I mean, higher protein, higher fiber foods are going to keep you more satiated. You're right. It's just going to happen.
So hard. It's just, it's that simple. Even if you don't move very much and you have a very sedentary lifestyle, it's so hard because you've got to eat so many calories, and to get that caloric intake is just very difficult at that level. The things that you're talking about, all these green vegetables are just so nutrient loaded base. It's just, but the caloric intake is just so low. So it's a great thing.
Yeah, we have, I'd love to bring up at some point, because I do want to make sure that I can utilize some things here, but like one thing in particular that I've been trying to utilize for a lot of my people that need an easier, I think you guys should be able to see this, right? Yeah. So this is just my website here, but if you need to ever find something that's like simple and easy, I mean, I can send you so many different things that like, again, I have recipes to no end. So it's not as if that's a challenge, but if you go to foodisfuelnyc.com and you go over here to home, there's a few things in terms of education that are always here for people. But if you go to this Habit 24, this is a way that I've taught people to eat and make it so that you don't have to count calories and stuff like that. But you have 4 goals that you're trying to hit daily. Basically 24 ounces of vegetable and fruit, 24 ounces of protein. And then I'm not even gonna talk about these just yet. But if you knew and you have a good understanding of what 24 ounces is, and you don't need to go crazy with that, because if you look on a package, you will see what 24 ounces really is. I can send this to you for free, Paul, too. Just reach out to me. But it's like it's a whole thing of how to actually go through this and make sure that you know that you're hitting on your nutrition, you're getting the things that you need in there without ever counting a calorie or without ever doing any kind of macro, but doing it the easiest way possible. So I want to make sure that you can kind of like look at that, get interested in it at least. And I think that we could even run a challenge. We did challenges like this before. Actually, Ron won the challenge twice. He won $90 both times. So
nice. Yeah, I want to do that. I love this because it makes it realistic. It keeps it realistic. I love that. I love that stuff.
All right, we're like an hour in almost. Are we an hour in? What are we? 44 minutes. Do we have a BroFit movement of the day?
We can.
Give us a quick one.
What have we done? Have we?
We did
rocks. We've done. What's up?
We've done push-ups, and we've done a bunch of hip flexors.
Hip flexor stuff. All right. How about just one that we can work on the butt and the hamstrings without having a machine? I think that's how can we be really lazy and still work on our backside? I think our backside is neglected a lot. I think I'm primarily thinking about my backside when I'm walking around the neighborhood. And I know that sounds very strange because I'm constantly moving forward. So I'm always feeling like everything's falling forward. And I start thinking about the things that we do in life, and everything is going forward. We sit at our phones, shoulders protracted forward, eyes are going down. We're sitting at a desk on our typewriter. Everything's just forward, right? We like to do chest presses forward, bicep curls forward, crunches forward, work on our quads, like in squats and stuff. So everything's front loaded, and we have a lot of time to neglect. So my challenge for any of those who are doing the steps is, how many of your steps throughout your day are you doing in reverse? I may not have told you, but I'm doing somewhere between 3,000 and 4,000 steps a day going in reverse around the neighborhood. It's kind of weird, but it's very, very, very profitable. So get into that. But if you're not doing that, here's a great way to focus on the hamstrings and your glutes, just kind of hanging out at the house. So bring your feet close towards your butt, feet shoulder width apart, toes pointed straight ahead. From here, I'm going to put my hands out to the side just for some leverage if I need it. Rib cage goes down. So I want to imagine that somebody's going to come hit me in the stomach. It's almost like I'm crunching or flexing, and this is going to be my starting position. Okay. Hips go straight up, and I'm squeezing my butt. What I'm not doing is I'm not arching, so I'm not squeezing, I'm not launching my hips forward. I'm trying to keep a straight line. Okay, so rib cage is down, like I'm squeezed, my hips come up. Okay, all I'm doing is staying in this position. So right now, currently, I've got a straight line. I don't know if you can see me, but I've got a straight line from my shoulders to my knees, and I'm squeezing my butt. So all the tension right now is in my glutes, and I feel this again on the back side of my legs. If I want to get a little bit more spicy and really isolate one side, I'm going to bring out my leg, and I'm going to keep my thighs parallel. So right now, my right hip wants to drop. What I need to do is squeeze my butt and lift my left side to keep my right side even. And then I'm just going to switch, okay? Alternate sides. Again, my hip's going to drop, squeeze, keep it up. Well, I do not want my hips doing one of these things. I'm not going up and down. I'm simply just marching.
I like that. I like that marching. That seems so much. That seems like it's scaled perfectly for someone that's just like, hey, I'm on the ground, not doing anything. Let me see what I can do right now. That's awesome.
I love movements like this because they look very easy on paper, and they look very easy when somebody's doing them. And in theory, they should be easy, but they take a lot out of you, and it's more focusing on, again, controlling your body rather than moving it. I'm a firm believer of we've got to learn how to control our body rather than just moving stuff.
Yeah, I feel like anything that is the reverse of our body sitting in a chair is a good thing to do. Hold on, I'm going to try something. And that was BroFit's movement of the day. Nope, didn't work. And there's all these sounds that I can play in here. And that was BroFit's movement of the day. No, didn't work either. There's nothing here. I feel like I gotta find something. These are preloaded. Not great. These are not cool. Let's figure it out. I'll get you.
For example, how many of the people that are watching right now have or just did get on the ground or are going to get on the ground and do that movement right now? You have the time. I think you should do it right now too, Mr. Ryan. I think we should all. I think from now on, we should, if we're going to teach the movement of the day, then we should have a certain amount of repetitions, whether it's like 3, 5, or 10. And we should all have to try to do that movement within reason, right? We're not going to sit there and do like 50 burpees or something silly, but we might do 2 or 3.
It's good. As I solidify my little setup here, it'll be good. I think I can probably get down on that ground and make it happen. So that'll be good there. Also, I think we got something coming our way as a community here on Friday as well, something similar. So just keep an eye out for something like that. Right. One more thing I want to do. I know that we don't want to really go. We always say like 40 minutes. We always go a bit longer. One thing I did want to do though, where is it? Because I thought this was just fun. I like this one. This makes me happy. Hold on, let me see if I can do it. Stay with me. Don't go anywhere. How's this gonna work? Can I do this? Oh, I see. Okay, hold on. Stop. Don't go anywhere. Okay, we're here. All right, nice. Oh, nice. We're like drafting on ESPN and Yahoo. All right, here we go. Ready? I got it for you. This is going to make it more interesting. This is part of our. This is part of our. This way, that way. Nutrition training friendly counter arguments. But I did something, BroFit. I did something special here. Stay with me. Stay with me. Don't go. Take this away. We're gonna do this. Where is it? Where is it? Here it is. I got it. What do we see? Is it up? Oh, nice. I like that view. That view is so much better.
Yes.
What are we gonna do here? All right. So I went on. I went on to something and found some of the top training questions and controversial topics, and some things in there for nutrition too. But it's so easy to go nutrition for me, so I wanted to make sure we were doing it differently. So we are going to spin the wheel. We got a good couple of topics that we can talk about, and we're going to talk either for or against these things. We could use some. It doesn't have to be crazy, you know what I'm talking about? But let's see. We're going to spin the wheel. Oh wait, hold on. Oh, that would have been a good one. Hold on. This is what we need, though. It feels like we're drafting on Yahoo right now. Wait, we gotta know if we're for or against it, though. I wanna be anti or pro. So, do you have a coin with you? Stay there. Don't move.
No. I have a slab. I have a gecko slab. I have a gecko slab. Paul, kind of curious what happened with the motorcycle accident. If you have any injuries with the motorcycle accident, I'm kind of curious about that. And kind of curious what kind of movement you're doing right now. He says you love to cook and you're planning on cooking. Do you got kids, Paul? I don't know really much about you, so just kind of curious a little bit more about the story that you've been sharing with us. I appreciate you sharing a lot of information and asking some questions. And I'd like to kind of tap into more of that. Sorry, go ahead, Ryan.
No, it's all good. Paul is over here in Staten Island, actually. Paul's close.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah.
Oh, sweet.
He said, I'm going to go visit him some point. He said, hold on. He was starting a new job at some point. He said, don't come visit me yet. So I'll wait. All right. So, Bri, here we go. We're gonna flip a coin. I'm gonna let you call it. You're gonna choose either if you want to be for something or against something, and then we're gonna spin the wheel. Okay.
All right. Perfect.
All right. You want heads or tails?
I will take heads.
All right. It's heads. Do you want to be anti or do you want to be pro? Whatever topic we're going to spin at.
Yes.
Maybe that's one of the best way to do it, but we're going to do it this way.
Well,
so,
some of them are verses. Some of them are verses. So.
Yeah.
Yes, I will. I'll take the pro. The pro, or if it's a verse, I'll pick one of those two.
All right, we're gonna spin. Let's find what it is. BroFit's gonna tell us why we should be using food tracking apps. That's what we're gonna do. He's gonna let us know why we need to, and I'm gonna let you know why I think we should not be using food tracking apps. All right. Now hold on. One more thing. Am I able to get a timer? Get a timer. I know you have your timer. You have a good timer over there.
Oh, do you want me to grab the timer?
Here. I know, but sometimes that timer, I feel like I'm not gonna be able to do it. What's going on?
How much time do we need? 2 minutes?
2 minutes. Okay, you ready to go? 2 minutes. 2 minutes on why we should be using food tracking apps. Go.
All right, guys. So first and foremost, if you are not tracking your foods, you don't have a realistic idea of what you've been eating consistently. It's just like writing down my gratitude in the morning. If I write down my gratitude, I can go back and the 3 things that I am most consistently grateful for, I can tell that those are priorities. Those are something that mean the most important to me. So if I go back and I'm able to dial in on my foods and see what I've eaten most consistently, I can kind of track, okay, cool. These are my tendencies, or these are the foods that I really like. And we can start to focus on the majors, right? The other thing, if you guys go check out calorieking.com, calorieking.com is going to really give you any nutrient information, whether it's at your Safeway, or if you're on the Publix on like the East Coast, or if you just want to grab something at McDonald's or whatever. Tracking your food is going to allow you to count your calories. It's going to allow you to maintain your macros, your proteins, carbs, and fats. And ideally, it's going to allow you to control your body fat and your weight. So I think a lot of the times we have a misconception of, oh my gosh, I ate so much food, I feel so full. And realistically, it could be like 200 calories, or sometimes we're like, man, all I felt like was I ate like this little bar, and it could be 1,500 calories. So having an idea of what you're actually getting in your body in relation to how much you're like actually putting in, and seeing a number, and a number equate to a volume, gives you a really good idea. So those are a few reasons why I think tracking your calories on a app are efficient, important, and something that you should integrate into your lifestyle today.
Nice. I want to see if it made it sound. It does. That's good. Let's reset that. All right, that was good. Did you feel like you got everything in you wanted to get in?
Yeah.
Nice. Hey, does anyone listening in? I know we got Paul, we got Nacho in here. Anyone else listening at all? Do you guys use a food tracking app of any kind? Do you have one that you liked? Do you have one that you did not like? Was there one that you paid for that you wish you didn't? Let us know if there's anything in particular that you guys found helpful or not. All right, so our buddy Bry was all for food tracking apps. I'm not for food tracking apps, at least right now. So let's start as I think this through. All right, food tracking apps. I want to give you 2 reasons why we should not be using them. The first is, I really want to make sure that you know that it's not about not using the food tracking app, but you definitely should not be using the food tracking app forever. Now, I think on the really challenging end, I've seen a lot of people that have either developed disordered eating habits or eating disorders from using these kind of things. And it's something that just really gets them to overthink what they're eating and completely forget about how it actually makes their body feels, and takes a lot of the enjoyment away from them. So there's a certain point, I think, when we learn about how our body should be eating, and then also how our body feels with food, we should have that goal in mind. And once we hit it, we should be working towards getting rid of the food tracking app. It's only going to be that much more beneficial for us. Now, I think the other side of it is that food tracking apps are known to be wildly incorrect in terms of the recommendations that they end up giving. And I will tell you this, is that I've actually tried to reach out to a few of these food tracking apps, namely Lose It and MyFitnessPal, to understand why they were giving such low calorie recommendations for someone that wants to lose weight that's already a lean individual. Because like when you sign up and you just swipe all the way, I want to lose 2 pounds a week, but you're already at 15% body fat, man, you are setting yourself up for the most challenging couple of weeks for you to be focusing on your health. So we want to make sure we know that food tracking apps can be very unhealthy and that they are incorrect. And I do believe that they try to counteract that by telling you to eat your calories back. But when you eat your calories back, you actually tend to not make the progress you actually want to. But I think it's the way for them not to get sued. Food tracking apps are definitely not out to help you out more than just count a few numbers. Know the benefit of them. All right, that's where we're at. All right, good stuff. So for or against, wait, hold on. So how about we have
1 minute, 1 minute.
Well, we have like closing arguments, but I don't know if we need those. Do we need closing arguments?
I don't think we need a closing argument. I just need a retaliation.
Oh, is that okay? Is that what it is? Yeah, no, I'm just trying to
I need a little bit of a rebuttal, because you got to rebuttal, and then I think you get the final say. Like, this is kind of like my final say in the rebuttal against, and then you get a final say and a final rebuttal.
Yeah, I'm not really arguing with you though. So
no, this is starting to get real. I'm trying to like invest my mind into some of these things, because this is difficult. This is not necessarily easy, because I'm agreeing with what you're saying, but I'm trying to like, all right, I'm going to argue against that.
Well, you know what? But this is the thing. Just like what you're saying, I feel as if like we were on the street somewhere and someone's like, food tracking apps, should we use them? My mind would go straight to telling you to use them. It just would. And then I would go into some of the things to be careful about. But it is different and does make us think a little bit differently about how to actually approach it straight up, from the front, whether, if we're anti something. So I think it's a really interesting way to go about doing it. All right. We have 1 minute rebuttals and then we'll be done. But you ready?
Yep.
Let's do it.
Well, I appreciate you using some of your minutes of some of your 2 minutes to let everybody know that food apps are important. They do help. They are a tool to help you educate. So I agree with all of those standards. However, I do not agree that by tracking your foods in an app that you should be taking their nutritional advice in terms of a meal plan set specifically for you and the results that you're trying to achieve. I think the tracking is simply to track the calories, your proteins, your carbs, your fibers, maybe your fats, things of that nature that will be relevant and important to you. And yes, be a guidance. It should be more of an educational step stool. So I do agree with that. It shouldn't be something that you should forever be reliant on, just like a trainer. Just like I don't think that somebody should work with me.
Nice. How do we go? 1 to 10. Do you think you got everything you wanted to say?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, last minute here. Last on the rebuttals. The ending. What's the thing you say at the end of a court case? What is it? What do we say? Closing statements, right?
Closing statements.
All right, hold on. Closing statements, because I get a couple extra seconds to think, and I get to press the button. So thinking about it right. Okay, again, I am anti food tracking apps. But I kind of, there's nothing that you said I feel like that I would. That's the only thing. That's what I'm having a hard time with. But we'll jump in. All right, look, food tracking apps can definitely be your friend, and there can be a benefit to them at some point for a short period of time. But overall, what I want you thinking about is no number is going to tell you how you feel, just like your weight is going to tell you how to feel. BroFit here is basically telling you that this scale is the same thing as putting your own personal identity up as just one number on your forehead and walking around like a scale is everything that defines you. And I don't appreciate that, BroFit. So what I would like to make sure that we know, it was aggressive. I want you guys to know that I think once you've maybe tried a food tracking app for some time, it's really time to move into a period of understanding how that food and how those numbers actually make you feel. And no app is ever going to support the way that your body feels. That's what I got.
I felt like that was so personal and aggressive. The only thing that retaliated that was coming into my mind was the if you don't chew Big Red, then fuck you.
That was good. Well, we have a bunch for next time, so we can definitely do it. Oh, did I go with? Oh no, if I get out of it, I'm gonna have to recreate. Yeah. Okay. Oh, yep. I'm gonna have to do that. So I guess that's just how that is. All right. Good stuff. All right. So I think we got our stuff down. There's anything that we ever want to hear? If there's anything that anyone kind of needs that you want us to talk about, or anything that you guys want to come up live, we are more than welcome to have you. Thank you so much. But I think that's going to be it for now. BroFit, any last words?
Don't be afraid to be great. Get those steps in. If it's important, you'll get it done. Make it a priority. Make yourself important.
That's right. I like that. That was good. Rosie, out there, music, our signature music. And I'll always say, guys, remember, if it's working for you, your health, your mindset, and your definition of success, no one deserves to tell you different. You do you. All right, guys. We love you. We'll see you tomorrow. Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursday, 1:30 Eastern, right? 10:30 Pacific. We'll be here for you guys. All right? Talk to you soon. Bye.